Hello, this is Survival-gyver, and today we're taking a look at the Nitecore NWL30 lantern. So this is what comes in it. You get this box, which is a really nice case. Got a little, I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but there's a pocket on the inside. It says Nitecore on both sides. So that's cool, right? Got an instruction manual. It comes with a Type-C to Type-C charger cable. Comes with a warranty card. They all come with warranty cards, but I decided to put it on there for a change. And it comes with a sticker, and we all know how much I love stickers. So that's kind of cool. Not sure what that's supposed to be in there. I guess it's their little bug zapper, bug repellent thing that they have. I don't have it. I think they offered it to me review last year, but my county actively sprays. They fog everything. Excuse me, the mosquitoes were so bad. I got the hiccups apparently. But this is the actual unit that we're taking a look at. Now, during the unboxing, I accidentally blinded myself in the face with it. Not Nitecore's fault. My fault. I take responsibility for it. And I actually got some minor eye damage from it. I had spots in front of my eyes and blur around the peripheral of my vision, and spots for actually a really long time. 8-9 days. I saw an optometrist about it, ophthalmologist, whatever you call them, eye doctor, and I actually had minor damage to my eyes. So, out of curiosity, I was talking to them about it. I was like, I have 3,000 lumen flashlights, and I've blasted myself in the face with them before, even at really close range, and haven't had this problem. So I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what. So the eye doctor suggested that I have this independently tested. So I had to have help because I couldn't read anything. Everything was blurry, or I was only able to see like a small section of what was in my view. To find some place that I can have this independently tested. And it turns out that it is underrated by a lot. It's less than 10%, but it's still a lot. So it's interesting. I don't know if it's underrated because there's something different on mine, or it's just my kind of luck that I got something unusual, which is possible. It's very possible. Maybe I'm just getting older, so it affected me more. I don't know. So the unboxing was really interesting, and I did put this through its paces. I love the power bank in it. I do like the light output. I do like the light beam, the color options. The mosquito repeller thing in the back is, well, we'll talk about it. So there are some good things about this. There's more good things than bad things. There are a couple regular complaints that I see in the comments that I have the same issues with, and I'll talk about it with you, because I want you to know the same thing I've been dealing with. By the way, if you haven't been able to tell, I have the light directly above me, and I'm wearing sunglasses because my eyes are still really sensitive. And it's going to be interesting because in 2 weeks when I have to go to a funeral, I have to, I'm going to pretty much drive at night because I'm not going to be able to see that well. Anyway, I digress. So let's take a look at this. So we got this nice case. It's like a hard shell case, and it's got this little mesh pocket on the inside. Okay, it's zippered. Got this little tether thing on the end. I'll put that out of the way. This is, I like stickers, and it comes with a really cool sticker. I like it. Yeah. So USB-C to C. So yeah, you can use this as a power bank, which is awesome that it has that as an extra function. And it's not like their regular ones. Like I have the NB10000, which is a 10,000 milliamp power bank. I have their new one as well, their NB Plus, which is also a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and we're going to be doing that comparison review shortly. That'll probably go out tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm going to try to catch up on videos here. So USB-C to USB-C. I would have preferred the option of having a regular USB-A to C, just because it's more universal, but it has that functionality anyway. It just gives you a C to C cable. And it's got this nice little cord-holdy Velcro thing that's just Nitecore on it. All there say that on it. I always forget to say something about it. Okay. So there is a worldwide warranty service card. So you got model number, date of purchase, serial number, and store stamp. Store stamp, well, they're sending it to me, so I don't have a store stamp. There are some Facebook pages and how you could email customer service, and there's stuff on that end. There is a relatively large manual. Of course, it's in other languages, and I'm going to be referring back to this. Looks like the first 5 pages of this are English for me, so I will be referring back to it. I also have the website up on my other screen here, because some of this is hard for me to read, just because my eyes are still bothering me. So we'll be discussing that shortly. And here is the unit itself. All right. So this has got like a coyote color. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it's like a greenish brown color. It's plastic on the outside, but it's textured, so it's nice. This metal around it, I think, is aluminum, because I don't think I have a magnet that sticks to it. Let me see. No. Yeah, so no magnet sticks to it, so it's got to be aluminum, which makes sense. It would make it into a heat sink for the light. You have 2 big knobs up top. This one, that looks like a, well, turn around this way. That looks like a thermometer. It's color temperature. Okay, from warm light to cold light. It's a little odd on that end, but I understand they're trying to make it marketable to everybody. Power button and brightness. All right. You have an R button, which is for red light. All right. It's got a couple of functions in there. And then you have this one that looks like it's cooking bacon. All right, so I find it odd that, you know, the knobs, the thermometer and the power sign are this way, but the buttons are in the opposite orientation. So R for red, and the one for frying bacon is the heater on the back for, you can put mosquito repellent pads in there. It'll take 2 different sizes. And that's actually one of my first complaints about this. So this is marketed as a lantern / mosquito repeller. But it doesn't come with like 1 or 2 repellent packages. Now I think is when they came out with this, they didn't have them available. I think, personally, I think they should have been like one big pad, or the 2 smaller ones like they suggest. I have some for like a flex tail. But the flex tail ones I have are like really small, so they didn't fit in this real well. So this back, that metal section in the back does heat up to like 130 or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, to pretty much cook those pads in the pack, and it releases a chemical agent that repels and kills mosquitoes and other things. But it would have been nice that, you know, if you're buying this for $108, $109, whatever the current price is on it, that it would come with at least 1 or 2 pads, or on the website where this is, have the option of buying those pads. But when I looked this up, they still weren't available. So it might be something new for Nitecore on that end. So I'm not going to give them grief on that. It's just like the really big pads are hard to find locally, and the small pads, like the flex tail ones, are loose on the inside. I actually got one stuck and I had problems getting it out. Otherwise, you know, when I was able to get something in there, and it worked, so that's fine. All right. The little thing that looks like the Statue of Liberty on fire just says hot. And then it tells you some information on the bottom here. I believe that's the serial number for this one. Do not throw in the trash. Recycle, made in China. Nitecore, I believe all their stuff is China, but it's fine. Good products as far as I'm concerned. I have no problems buying Chinese products as long as the quality is respectable. And Nitecore is a respectable company in my opinion. So it tells you a capacity 18,000 milliamp hours. That's a pretty big battery in here for the power bank feature. Also for everything else to last really long time. I think if you leave this in the lowest setting on the light itself, I think it's good for like 16 days. It'll stay on. That's impressive. Now, the weight on this thing is about 18 ounces, so it's a little bit more than a pound. So it's not particularly light, but I have another light by another lantern that doesn't have the heater in the back, by the way. That's somewhat comparable, which is about the same weight. So, and double the money. The other company's double the money than this. So this, other than a couple of issues like it doesn't come with the repellent pads, and the next one we're going to talk about is the magnets in the bottom. There are two magnets. These are, how do I say this nicely? Not good. Will it stick to something that's metal? Yes, it will. Only if the orientation is left like this, off the side. So if you have a metal pole here, like that. Any other position, it will just slide down or fall off, especially if you have it like this. And you have the center of gravity, center of mass, is pulling this way on a downwards motion, it'll just go bloop. So, yeah, the magnets are not good on the bottom. That's my biggest complaint with this. Not that it's lacking pads. My biggest complaint is the magnets are weak. I think that, in my opinion anyway, I believe that when they made this, they probably didn't have this extra back panel in the back, and they probably decided to upsize the battery to be more competitive in the market, but they didn't upgrade the magnets in the process, thinking it would hold, and it will hold as long as it's not windy, and as long as you don't put it in some kind of weird orientation, because it will just fall off or slide down. By the way, there is a tripod mount, 1/4x20. And I actually like the lanterns. I actually like just about any light that's got the 1/4x20 on it, because it doesn't have to be a tripod. You can have it, if you have that stud or bolt on something else. I've had them on walking sticks. I've put them on actually vehicles too, just sticking out of like a fender on like one of the off-road rigs or on the golf cart. I have a little 1/4x20 on there, put the light on it. So now I have a simple mounting point for just about anywhere, because I can't trust the magnets, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm gonna, by the way, this moves 360 degrees around, which is really cool. And it's decently strong. I mean, it doesn't loosen up. So it's got some good tension on there. The handle is plastic, but it's a thick plastic. It's quite solid. It's got its little, I don't know if I could show you that on the inside here. It's like a little nub here on the bottom. Like I might, it looks like oh okay, so the nub that I see on the inside is probably the end of the 1/4x20 screw. So it's probably just in a piece of plastic there, maybe as a reinforcement piece. So I might, if I take the screws out on both sides, I might be able to take this apart and put some better magnets in it. Maybe I'll do that for a future video once I figure it out, because I don't like fiddling with stuff if I don't have to. On the bottom, if I can get this to focus, is a rubber cover, the IP66 rating, and a USB connection. On the inside is a USB-A output, and there's a USB-C input-output. It says it in and out, and it says out. Right? So now that we know how all that works. So, it's easy enough. charge it however you like in that case. I also do like that if you do have this thing upside down, right? So that's on top, but it's protecting everything. But it's also a good way to prevent the handle prevents the knobs from being accidentally bumped or hit. Let's see if I can do this without blinding myself, because that would be good, right? Let's see. Let me put this on the lowest. I'm gonna get my glasses on. All right. So that's the lowest of the bright white, and I can make it yellow. All right. And everywhere in between, I know you probably can't tell how the lights are on the front here. It's actually kind of cool. So let me turn the light back off. So you have these outer lights, which are like a warm white, or actually those are bright whites, and then you have warm white, and then you can't really tell, but there's actually some right in the center. And then you have these outer ones, which I believe are the red ones. So you have this bright white, which is like a 6000K. I believe is what it is. I don't have it on my notes here. That's kind of sad. And then as I lower the color temperature, you can probably see how the lights are changing. All right. Now I have this on the lowest setting on white light, on warm white. It gets crazy bright where you can't even see. You probably can see this little mark here, which is the 6 lights on the inside. That's the reflection off the lens of the camera. Let's see what happens when I change it to a different color. You can see the other LEDs come into effect. See all the other ones? And this is on its brightest setting, by the way. So it goes through... Wow, it's even bright even with my sunglasses on. You can see the ones in the center will actually disappear, and it'll just be the outer ones. That's kind of interesting. All right, so I'm going to lower that, so I might be able to see something. Okay, well that was interesting, right? Kind of like how that reflects there. And that's actually doing it on live because I could see it on my screen. That way, because I'm not looking directly down at the light. But it is crazy bright. All right, it's really, really sensitive, by the way. And look, no damage to my web camera here. So next, let's go over that red light. Red, I think I have to hold down. There we go. And it doesn't really show up here like the other one did. So we've got regular red, which is just the center LED. There we go. Did I turn it off? Turn it back on. There's on. And then there's beacon mode, which is just a quick flash. So if you can tell, it's right in the center there. I'm going to turn that off now. Alright. Oh, now it's straight on. And then these don't do anything. So, don't have to worry about anything weird there. It's got a couple of red features in there. I'm not going to go through it because even with my sunglasses on, I'm now having a hard time seeing. That's what it is, so, on the standard light, the white light, regardless of the color temperature, at its highest, it's 3000 lumens. At its lowest, it's 50 lumens. And I'm sorry, at 50 lumens, it still seems to be awfully bright. It's more than 50 lumens on its lowest. Right. So, at its highest, at 3000 lumens, actually it is a heatsink, I can feel it warm there. At 3000 lumens, it'll last for 7 hours and 30 minutes, approximately on a full charge. So that's a lot of time at 3000 lumens. There is a sensor. Wow, I don't know where the heck I got that one from. Sensor that there's a thermal protection function. So if it gets too hot, it'll either automatically dim the light or turn the light off. All right. So it'll help regulate the output, which is really cool. All right. So on the highest, you have 120 meters of distance. It's 3,577 candela is what it's listed as. All right. The lowest is 50 lumens. At 50 lumens, that's good for 130 hours. It's over a week. All right. That's a long time. 130 hours on its lowest, and we already saw low is quite bright. And let me see here. See, so it's around flood at its lowest. All right. Change the color temperature. You can see the output a little bit better. Let me turn this off, and maybe I'll turn this light off as well. So there you go. So it's a wide flood beam. Now this is its lowest. This is 50 lumens out of its regular color. All right. So if I go to warm white, like a yellowish color, doesn't show up on, but it's like an orange color. That's the pattern. All right. So if I make this brighter, yeah, it's it's really bright. Again, this is in yellow, and so the bright seems to be. You can watch it have a. This is on its max on here, and me just changing the color, you can see how the beam gets wider, back and forth. So right about there is probably its brightest. Now this is on a white backing. You can't see. You know, like if I put my hand like this, you can't even see the details of my hand. It's that bright. It's actually really warm. And I'm actually going to keep this off soon because this is on a paper backing, just to protect my desk, and it's really bright. So let's turn this down. You see how it's actually bright in this room, which is not much. Let me turn the top lights on again. All right, so now it's quite hot on the outside. I don't have my thermometer nearby, digital thermometer that I can. It's probably about 90 degrees. So at 50 lumens at its lowest amount, 130 hours of runtime, 16-meter distance, 64 candela, right? Now the red light, which we talked about at the top here, the one that says R, which is backwards of the on and off button, whatever, that annoys me. It's not bad, but it annoys me. And I'll explain what these little dots are at the top shortly. The on red light, constant on, which is the first hold button, is 25 lumens. That'll last for 80 hours. It's got a 6-meter distance and 10 candela. The slow flashing feature is 25 lumens. Now, it doesn't say it on the website. It just says there's a little line on it. That's all it says. When it was independently tested and they checked it, it lasted almost 200 hours. It's a really long time. 200 hours on slow red flash. That's crazy, right? This is actually still quite warm. Now, the frying bacon feature, the bug repellent, I forgot to mention it earlier. It's got 2 levels. There's a low mode, which is like approximately 11-foot protection, which is good for like 17 and a half hours. And there's a high mode, which has got like 16 feet of protection for 12 hours and 30 minutes on a full charge. It will take 2 different size pads. It'll take 34 millimeter by 48 millimeter, which is the larger ones, which is about that size. And it'll also take 35 millimeter by 22 millimeter, which are the smaller ones, and you stack them on top of each other and shove it in the back. So it'll fit some of the more common ones. As I said, my flux tail ones are slightly smaller than the universal regular mats. I think those were 33 or 34, but they were smaller, so I got one stuck. So again, that's not an issue with Nitecore. That's just an issue with the brand of mosquito repellent I was using. So what else is going on here? You want to know about those lights on the top here. All right, and that is the battery indicator light. And let me see if I could find it in the notes here, because I don't remember. All right, so power indicator, when the product is off, short press the R button, and the corresponding blue power indicators will turn on sequentially and turn off after 2 seconds. All right, let me turn it this way, so we have them all in a row. So there's 4 of them there. This one, by the way, that far one there is for the frying bacon mosquito repellent mode. All right. The product should be recharged when the output appears to be dim or the product becomes unresponsive due to low power. If 4 constant on, you have 75 to 100%. 3 constant on, 50 to 75%. 2 constant on, 25 to 50%. And 1 constant on, 5 to 25%. Please recharge as soon as possible. So, let's see. Short press the R button. There we go. 4 little blue lights. And it turns off immediately. So if you're not paying attention, it turns off really quickly. I wish it would stay on a little longer than that, but it is what it is. So, let's try and see if I can get the other one. Sure, I don't have the back part on. All right. So, there's all that cool stuff there. Now, so that little last light here, which I can't turn on at the moment because I don't have a pad on the back. I don't want to burn this thing out. So you have that mode switch on here. So when the mosquito repelling function is on, press the repeller button to switch between high and low mode. The repeller indicator light turns blue, constant on, to indicate high mode, and turns green if it's in low mode. Again, I'm not going to turn that on because, well, I have nothing in the back. So, let's discuss what this actually is. Alright, so under independent testing, after I screwed up my eyesight, again, my fault, not Nitecore's, and I'm not exactly sure why this is rated much higher than it actually produces, than it's rated at. I don't know if that is for advertisement purposes or legality, or maybe they don't actually know that it's higher than it is, or maybe I have one that's faulty and it's higher. I don't know. I don't think it's faulty because it works flawlessly on everything. It's just brighter than it should be. But that could be for a whole host of reasons, as I'm saying. It could be... The heck? All right. Sorry. Got a bug in the nose here. It could be that the LEDs are rated incorrectly. They still got them from the same batch, and they work better than they should. It's possible. It could be something with the lens. It could be the circuitry on the inside. It could be the battery. Maybe the wiring or the battery is more efficient than it should be, so it's producing more power, makes the lights brighter. There's a whole bunch of reasons for it. But under independent testing, again, this is supposed to be 3,000 lumens at its brightest. This was rated at 3,826. 3,826. So 826 more lumens than it was listed as. So that's awesome. That to me, it's awesome. I don't know if that'll make this have a shorter life than it's supposed to, or what. But that's what it is. I also do like playing with these knobs on top. They're like aluminum. I think they're aluminum. Yeah, they're aluminum. But they're knurled. They have a nice feeling to them. Sorry, got a little sidetracked there. The lowest is supposed to be 50 lumens. It's 218 lumens. The red light seems to be correct at 25 lumens. 25 to 38 is what it listed on my paperwork. But yeah, so 218 lumens for the lowest beam. And 3826 or 3825, something in that range, was the high beam. So yeah, it is quite a bit stronger than it's supposed to be. Is that a bad thing? No. Could it be... maybe it was designed that way? I don't know. I don't think so. Because nobody else has reported theirs to be higher power than it should be. Although I don't think anybody else has blasted themselves in the face with the light to notice that there might be a problem. So, you know, I don't know. Do I think this is a good buy? Well, it's $108 currently without the mosquito repellent pads. That's the current price. Do I think that's a good buy? For what it is, for lantern, even though it's got weak magnets and doesn't come with repeller pads, I think it's an excellent buy. It's 18,000 milliamp hour battery pack. All right, so you can charge with it. You can charge just all sorts of things with it. The magnets are weak, yes. The color options on this are really good. The power button's a little finicky for setting on for adjustability. It's a little on the finicky side. All right, well that still hurt my eyes even with sunglasses on. So I still think it's a good deal. Nitecore makes a solid product. This is, for the most part, a solid product. Again, I'll probably figure out how to take out that little panel on the inside. So I'll take it off the sides and see if I could take that out to change the magnets. That might be worth it to somebody. But other than that, this is a pretty sick product. I will do a review or comparison with another brand in the future of a similar style light. But I like this. This is really, really nice. This is probably going to end up in my F100 project, which you may just notice I just created a new channel for my 82 F100, because that's all steel body. Once I get those magnets going, I think this will be an awesome project light in order for me to keep up with that. Plus, keep the mosquitoes away. So that's a plus once I get the right pads for it. But I think it's a good buy. It's also, because the amount of light output this is, I wouldn't necessarily consider this a regular lantern, like a 360-degree lantern. You could use it as an area light. You can get like an empty like milk or water jug filled with water and bleach so it doesn't get any kind of funkiness. Get a little couple stands so it's not directly on top of the light. Put that on top and that would light up an entire room easily. For emergency preparedness, since this is emergency preparedness month, this would be an excellent product to have. Again, though, you do not want to blast anybody in the face with it. You will really hurt their eyes. And if you really wanted to, you can use this handle at the top here and hold it any sort of way that you want. Especially if you use that 4x20 on the back to light up, whatever you want, almost like a rarer lantern kind of thing. So, good deal. I do recommend it. I would like to hear more from other people that have purchased it, if theirs is brighter than it's supposed to be. I'm kind of curious if it's a quality issue, or if it's, I wouldn't call it brighter being a quality issue, but it could be, I suppose. I don't know what the thermal management unit on this is capable of. Maybe it's running cooler than it was expected. Maybe that's why it's brighter. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for watching. Questions or comments, leave them below and I will answer them as soon as I can. I know I'm way behind on videos and responding to people, but I've already brought that up in some of the last couple of videos, specifically the channel update. So Nitecore, I'm sorry it's taking me so long to review this, but there were some issues with it being as bright or super bright, and my stupidity. Essentially, I'm an idiot and I hit myself in the face with the light, so that's my fault. And I would take responsibility for that. But yeah, it's a really nice product. I do recommend checking out the Nitecore store. And that's it. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening. Safely, of course.